Back to Zoom. Oh, wait. Hang on. Hang on. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's bring up, we're on Facebook. Let's bring up Melinda Ross and get the activation started. Here she is. Panelist. Okay. All right. Video. All righty. Can you hear me, Melinda? Let's see. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Hang on, let me turn up the volume here. Oh, it is up. Testing 1, 2, 3.
I can hear you.
Oh, now we're good. What's going on, Melinda? What's happening?
Hello. Oh, there's a lot of energy moving.
Slightly. Just
slightly. Just slightly.
We had two crazy. We had two crazy, not crazy, but crazy good shows today. Just like this will be the third one. Everything happens everything happens in threes. So you know.
I saw that. You've had some big people on today. Oh, with lots.
Well, we've got a big activation fixing to happen here.
Yes, we have.
We're happy to be doing this. This is not something we normally do, but it feels right. And I've got the pictures. I had to switch computers.
Oh, wow.
But I think it'll work out fine. We got 31 people in the house. If these shows resonate, please share. We're gonna have another incredible show right now because we're gonna do a special activation. I'm gonna let Melinda explain it, but it has to do with the Ring of Fire, and it also has to do with dragons, which is close to my heart. I think becoming more and more of a presence in everybody's lives, especially recently. So I don't know, where do you want to start with this?
Well, I thought about talking about all the energies that have been moving to start with, and then particularly dragons and swords and many other things. And then we could move into the activation process, and then maybe finish with a discussion at the end. And if anyone wants to share their stories, they can.
That sounds perfect.
Okay.
That sounds perfect.
Great. Fantastic. All right. So just to give a bit of background information, I was listening to one of Todd's shows several weeks ago, and I think there was 80 people in the house at the time. And I just had a voice say, all of these people collectively need to stand on the Ring of Fire. And that's how this process came about. So I asked what that meant, and I was given a process that I'm going to take everyone through today. It involves actually physically and energetically standing on the Ring of Fire, as well as activating our internal, external flame, and as well as connecting with dragon energy, which has been a really big part of this whole process. So what I would like to say about it is that when the information also came through is that the Ring of Fire was really important in the process of activating it like a runway so that the stars can align. And when the stars actually align, we are actually going to be activating the Elohim star, and also the three-armed star. In doing this, there will be a star shower onto the earth. The three-armed star will be activated in the sky, but also in the earth, also in ourselves, as well as in the ocean. So it's a big process of internal, external activation of the earth. And also what will be happening as part of this is that we will be calling in the lost cities of Lemuria and the lost city of Mu. When that happens, there will be a rising up or a coming down and a landing of those. I've also been told that as part of the process, we will also be witnessing 3 motherships landing, one in the Incas, one at the Great Pyramid in Egypt, and the other on Ayers Rock. So today, when we stand on the Ring of Fire, we're going to actually be holding the runway for all of this to happen. We will also, as part of it, which is a really added beautiful bonus, receive our own star map. That star map comes back from our very seed, from the Elohim star, and it gives us the very seeds of our first existence, our first beginning into this soul, into this incarnation. So it's very exciting, and I feel really excited to be a part of this. I want to acknowledge that there will also be some continental shift as part of this process. That's what I've been told. It's not going to be big. It's not going to involve earthquakes. I've been told that it will be gentle. Just to appease those people in the house, we've already had some activity happening on the Ring of Fire this week, which has been the volcano that erupted in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I feel it's important to mention that I really tuned in with that volcano and whether to actually even go ahead with the Ring of Fire. And I was told that the volcano was just kind of Gaia or the Earth's message to say, hey, I'm getting ready for this. And that the fire that we're lighting is actually our internal flames. And the more that we light in our internal flames, the more that the external flames will actually go out. So I live in Australia. There's lots of fires around us at the moment. We're surrounded in smoke every day. The whole east coast of Australia, there's lots of fires burning. And ironically, my husband's putting fires out and I'm about to light them. So
No, you're about to light them. I saw an article yesterday. I don't even know how I came across it. And it was a Maori spiritual leader, this 51-year-old man who's had all the oral history passed down and all the lineage and everything. And that's what he was saying. He was saying that, and I forget the name of the particular volcano, but he called it by its feminine name. And he said, in essence, what he said is that what you said is that Mother Earth is getting ready. And he was just explaining that it can't be stopped. We're having a spiritual awakening and we're going to basically merge with the kingdoms, the animal, plant kingdoms, the spiritual consciousness is going to come into line, and all those things that are not in alignment with it are going to fall away, basically. It was a very interesting article. Like I said, I don't even know how I came across it. I didn't even know there was a volcano going off in New Zealand.
Yeah. This is really happening because there's been so much suppression and repression as well. And when I started to share this information about the Ring of Fire with a group of friends that we call the Galactic Family, now called the Dragon Weavers. We're a messenger group. And when I first shared that information, the amount of dragon stories that just started to come. And what was amazing in this whole process is that in activating the Ring of Fire, we're actually going to be giving the dragons their breath back, their fire breath back, and they will actually be able to land. Now, when I talk about dragons, we're actually talking about our internal selves. We are a representation of the dragons, and the dragons are a representation of ourselves as well. And so many of us are just starting to have an awakening of the dragons happen and having dragons visit us. I know you've had dragons come to you, Todd, and I've had many encounters with them. I think one of my first encounters, and I feel really pushed this morning to mention it, is that my first encounter with the dragon was around a process that I downloaded about the breath of life, and the fact that our breath of life, so our very breath that we come into life with, is suppressed at a very, very young age. And the dragon, during that time when I was doing that process, this dragon came to me and it was like, we need our breath back. We need our fire breath back. We need to activate this internal fire in ourselves in order for us to be living ourselves fully. And a lot of this process is actually about pulling off the chains, the locks, the lock gates that have kept us small, that have kept us suppressed.
Yeah.
And a lot of the dragons that we've been witnessing have been in dungeons. First came to me with, a giant, it's laying in the bases of my pelvis, and it was like, oh, I've got a sleeping giant. And then all of a sudden, below that was all of these dragons that have been starting to be released, or needed to be released, or were calling me to release them. The other thing about the dragons is that I've found that there's a white dragon and there's a red dragon. And the white seems to be the feminine and the red seems to be the masculine. And they have been out of balance. They've been out of balance for a very long time. And the dragons are actually really calling us in to balance those and balance all the elements of the dragons. So not just the red and white, but the blue and the green and etc. So with the red and white, for example, when they come together and they fuse together, they become the heart. They become the heart. And this is what this message is so much about, is the unity of our heart, and a unified front and a unified heart in order to connect with ourselves, but also connect with the earth and its changes, the new earth, and how it's going to change. If Lemuria rises and the city of Mu rises, we are going to have such a continent that merges into one, pretty much. That's what's going to happen.
Do you think it's gonna happen in the physical realm, or is this energetic? Well, we know whatever happens is first energetic.
Yeah.
Too many hot peppers. But do you think it might happen too in the physical? I guess we don't know.
We don't know. I don't know. Yeah. As I do this process, I think, oh, there's so many things that could unfold as part of this. I don't know. But I have this really strong sense in my body that it is going to happen in the physical realm as well, and that it's not just energetic. And even as I said about the external fires, that the external fires will go out when we light our internal fires, I also feel that we're just going to get rain. We'll receive rain where we really need it. And Australia, or New South Wales, where I live at the moment, is in drought, and there's fires everywhere. And I just feel like Gaia is going to create some quite significant shifts. Yes.
Powerful stuff.
It's powerful stuff. And it's big. There's so much in this, and there's so much in this for every single person. We're opening the golden gates. We're opening big golden gates. I just want to acknowledge the team that's been behind me, who have been working with me quite intensely for the last few weeks. So there's Denise, Victoria, Ronya, Jed, Vanya, Teresa, Dawn, and many more that have just been holding space as well. So I just want to express that they've all contributed to this. And what I want to say about that is that I feel like this is a really beautiful example of collectively coming together to create new roadmaps for the collective healers to actually start bringing together pieces of the jigsaw puzzle and bringing them together so that we're not working independently, we're actually working collaboratively. So that we've got that really big united heart going on, as opposed to this separation that we've, and our core separation that we've been playing out.
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit more about the dragons is that there seems to be 12 key or core dragons. Those 12 core dragons have been chained up to 12 key stones. And these key stones are like inscripted in a circular pattern. And we're actually going to visit that place in our process today. Those 12 key dragons have actually been released now, and that's work that we've been doing in the background. As part of those key dragons being released, that it has also released the collective dragon. So behind each of those 12 dragons, there has been thousands and thousands of other dragons, which are kind of like the ancestral dragons of each of those key dragons. So just to explain that a little bit further, each key dragon almost feels like it has its own ancestral line. And with that ancestral line, there is the thousands and thousands of dragons that are behind that dragon. With those dragons being now de-handcuffed or unchained from those stones, the dungeons started to fill up with light. And as the dungeons filled up with light, it's almost like in our energetic physical body, more light came in, and the suppression and the repression that we have been feeling in our own physical bodies started to transform and started to change.
Yeah.
The other thing that was really evident as part of this is that there was 12 swords. 12 key swords that were attached to each of those stones and each of those dragons. With those stones, or with those swords, I should say, is that there was the real clear message that we have been the dragon slayer. We have not only been the dragon slayer, but we've also been the dragon that has been slayed. So we've experienced both. We've experienced slaying ourselves, but we've also experienced slaying others and slaying dragons.
Yeah.
And that core wound, which has created so much separation, feels that it's really on the mend. And we've done a lot of work in regards to healing that part of ourselves. Of course, as a result of this, there's been a lot of shadow work that has come up and has required us to really look at ourselves. And this whole process requires us to look at the parts of ourselves that, have stabbed someone else in the back.
Yeah.
And how this information first came to me is that I started seeing clients who had knives in them. And I was like, what are these knives? And I would be guided to rotate the knife, and it would turn into a sword. And if the swords are rotated in the right position in our bodies, they actually become a grid, and they become a boundary grid. And I'm going to actually take everyone through that boundary process in a moment before we actually start the official Ring of Fire process. With those swords, there is a real calling of those swords back, but also a calling for us to take responsibility and to lay down thy sword. Yeah. To lay it down, and lay it down for good. We are being called to lay down our swords.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, what I would also like to say about the dragons is there has been a lot of dragon eggs around, and the dragon eggs are kind of like a representation of our, not only our embryonic development, but also kind of like our energetic womb space. A lot of eggs are coming to us in different forms, and people are having different experiences, but a lot of these eggs are actually being laid into the, literally laid into the earth, like coding and recoding for the earth. Denise has this beautiful story about actually becoming a dragon and actually standing there and being told you have to lay your eggs now. And she thought it was very weird at the time. Like, we've all encountered these really weird experiences of being, you know, being dragons or having dragons come through us and actually weave through us. Yeah, there is this beautiful experience that is really happening with these dragons, and my own personal experience has been a real clearing out, and a real activation of that. Like, even my sight, for example, has been really activated as a result of the dragons coming to visit me.
Well, something's happening.
Something is happening.
Something's happening.
Yeah, something big is really happening. And I don't know whether you can see, but where my finger's pointing at the moment, I think it's too reflective because of the glass, but on the wall in the background is a dragon with the words focus on the bottom of it. And my previous partner actually drew that dragon.
Really?
He actually died 15 years ago, but he came and visited me about 5 years ago and told me that this was going to happen.
Wow.
So the dragon magic has been happening for a while, and I had a 2.5 hour conversation with him at the time when he visited me and told me that this collective shift was going to happen. Okay, I feel to do the boundary process, which is with the swords, and then move straight into the ring of fire. How's that feel, Todd? Yeah,
that feels
okay.
That feels fine. Yeah, feels perfect.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to get everyone to do is just ground your feet on the, you know, wherever you are, whether you're sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor. And when you're ready, if you feel to, close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths in your own time. And we're just going to start with the first sword positioning. And the first sword positioning is very much connected with the sword of truth. So it is the sword, like the white sword, that connects us from the universe through our crown chakra. This is an energetic sword. And this energetic sword almost is bigger than the rest of the swords, and the fact that it goes through our whole body to reach the earth, because it's the sword of truth. You may, during this process, have the experience of swords being in the wrong position, but just allow that sword to rotate and go in the right position. So the handle should be facing up towards the sky and the actual sword going down through the crown.
Yeah.
The next is the third eye. And the sword actually enters through the third eye, and the bridge, or the actual handle of the sword, goes across from the temple, both temples basically. It's broad. What I will mention about these swords in the handles is there is many gems or crystals, and these will be activated as part of this process. The next two swords are in the upper chest, and they actually, the handles are in the midline and they go outwards. And so the handle, there's one from the feminine side from the midline and one from the masculine side, and they face outwards, and they create a breastplate, almost like an armor across the chest. The next is down the arms, so one down each arm, down towards our hands. So just visualizing those being in place. And the actual handle is from the shoulder down towards the hand, with the point coming out of our hands. The next is, there is two through the midline. Okay, so the two midline, one is pointing up from the midline and one is pointing down from the midline. So basically, if you were to take it from your center, probably from your solar plexus, one points up towards our chin and one points down towards our perineum. There is also, the next grid actually goes down the side. So there's one in the feminine side and one in the masculine side. And these swords face with the handles from the tops of the shoulders going down towards our legs or our base. There is another lot of swords that go from across. So we've got our first ones going across our chest. The next ones go across our solar plexus with the handles point in the midline and the swords actually pointing out. So they actually form a grid across kind of the important areas across our chakras. The next lot of swords go across our belly button, across our actual earth, with the handles actually in the midline and the sword actually pointing out. And the next one is actually in our pelvis. So going across our area where our fallopian tubes would be for females and just our pelvis for the males, and with the handles in the middle pointing outwards again. So that's the front body. Now, what's really important about this work at the moment is that a lot of information is coming through the back body. We've spent a lot of time activating our front body and actually putting a lot of emphasis on our front body. Our back body is where it's at. So we also need to really start connecting in with our back body, but also too, there is some swords that are in our back body. So we're going to pay attention to that for a moment. So there's one sword that goes through our spine. And it starts at the top and goes down, pointing down. There is another sword on the masculine side, so masculine side, another sword on the feminine side. There is one across the top of, well, across our shoulder blades, protecting the heart from the back. The next one is across the bottom of our rib cage, so protecting our solar plexus from the back. And the next lot of swords is down sort of our mid-back in line with our belly button. And the last is across our sacrum. And those handles are in the middle with the swords pointing out. Now, last of all, there's one sword that goes from our tailbone, our coccyx, into the earth, connecting us and grounding us. Now, when I use the word protection, I use that word very loosely, and I feel like there is a new definition of protection, because if we are trusting and we're trusting the sword of truth, then we actually don't need protection.
Exactly. Agreed.
So this is a grid about boundaries and actual being clear with our boundaries, like a new definition of boundaries. And boundaries are about taking responsibility for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel that this process was really important to do, and to make sure that we were really clear with our boundaries before we step into the ring of fire, because we're about to activate something that is real, is going to change things. It's going to change the way that we are. And if there is any interference with it, it will, I feel like we can trust actually that we've come so far, but it's really important for us all to be clear and on the one page.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the ring of fire? I think most people would know what the ring of fire is. The ring of fire is it's 40,000 kilometres long. It is where a lot of the tectonic plates are. It's where a lot of the volcanoes are, and it's well worth looking up on or googling it and having a look at a map. Yeah, or looking at the picture that Todd posted.
No, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. So if we look at that map for a moment, and we consider the size of the lost city of Lemuria, if Lemuria was to rise out of the ocean, we can see on this map, it would actually fit like a jigsaw perfectly to connect all of those continents. You can see the same with Mu, and you can also see the same with Atlantis. We're very specifically working with Mu today and Lemuria. So, yeah, there is some keys, and there's some keys in ourselves, and there is key activation. In fact, we are the key. And today we're going to actually be opening the doors to the cities, to the city of Mu, to the city of Lemuria, whatever presents itself in front of us once the ring of fire is ignited. So what we're actually going to do is with the actual red line that goes around the ring of fire, we're actually going to be lighting that up like a runway. So the whole thing will be lit up. This will be a collective lighting up. So when we light up our own internal flame, we'll be then passing the baton. We'll be passing the baton of fire to the next person that stands beside us, who stands beside us, who stands beside us, until the whole thing is lit. Okay. I also want to pay a little bit of attention before we start the process, because I feel that this may happen for some people during the process. They may experience being different species. The other thing is that King Neptune visited me the other day and actually rose up with a pearl out of the ocean and gave me this pearl inside his trident, or rose up with the pearl and actually inserted the pearl into the three-armed star. I feel that what we are going to actually create out of this process is the symbolism of a pearl. A pearl is at its purest form. So when a rainbow fuses together, it becomes white. And the symbolism of the pearl is that it is pure and it's innocent. And what we're trying to balance here is the feminine, masculine, and the innocent child. And in balancing those, we will become united in our heart, but we will also become united within the earth as well. So pearls have been coming to people. Sometimes they come as dragon eggs, sometimes they come as pearls. Mermaids have definitely been part of this process because we're dealing with the different elements. We're dealing with fire, we're dealing with the ring of fire, we're dealing with the ocean. The ring of fire sits over the ocean. And so whatever's in the ocean that needs to rise up is rising up. So that is mermaids for some people, that is King Neptune for some people, that is pearls. And the pearls are actually starting to be like a string of pearls. And what might happen today is that when we light up the ring of fire, pearls may come, like a string of pearls. And it's almost like the string of pearls is our ancestral line. It's reconnecting the lines and the tribes all together. I think what we might do is just, I want to take a little moment to acknowledge the inner earth beings. Yeah. There's been a lot of inner earth beings that have been around. I would also like to acknowledge that under our rib cage in all of us is the cave of knowing. And inside that cave is an inscription of our soul. An inscription and a connection to everything, all that is basically. And that cave of knowing may be activated for you today. What overlays that cave of knowing is all of our stuff that gets in the way, all of our issues. And the more that we clear that, the more that we will connect with the cave of knowing. The cave of knowing will tend to get activated with the fact that we are also activating the 3-armed star. We have also been doing a lot of work with the directions, and I would really like to honour the directions of north, south, east, west today. I'm talking about those from the perspective of our north, south, east, west, but also the axis of the earth. The axis of the earth has been out of balance, and we've been called, and I've been working with my team to actually bring it back into balance. The more that the earth is in balance and we come back into our midline, the more that we can be unified. So what there has been is there's been a bit of a tipping point into the masculine, and we've been sitting in the masculine for quite a period of time, and we're being called to swing back and bring back in the softness. We've been working with the channels within the earth, inside the earth, to actually help create this today. And I just want to acknowledge that you may have that experience. Okay. I think we might start.
Alrighty. Why?
There's so much there. There's so much I could talk about, but I feel it's really important that we get this process done.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get ourselves comfortable. This is going to be a deep grounding process. And before we start, I'd really like to pay attention to elders past and present, to all the ancestors from throughout the world, all the tribes, and all the inner earth beings, as well as the ocean beings, and anything galactic that needs to be honoured as well. Okay. So grounding ourselves, taking some deep breaths. Now take a big deep breath into your belly, into your umbilical cord, like you've got an umbilical cord that still exists, but instead of it being external, you're going to track it internally from your belly button. And you're going to follow this like a red thread. You're going to track it internally like a red thread down deep, deep into the earth. And as you go down deep into the earth, you'll pass through the dirt, the sand, the crystals, the water tables, until you reach the diamond at the center of the earth. And just sit with that diamond at the center of the earth for a moment. And now we're going to go deeper. You're going to go through the diamond at the center of the earth, through the middle of it. You're going to go deeper. You're going to be connecting with the ancient stones of the world. Connecting yourself down deep into the earth. You're going to be connecting yourself with the creation stone. And this will be at layer 21 of the underground of consciousness. Once you are connected with the creation stone, just stand with it. Sit with it, whatever feels right for you. And as you stand with it, you're going to call in all the ancient stones and their consciousness. You're going to call them in and you're going to awaken them and activate them. You're going to be calling in the ancient knowledge that's been suppressed. Call it. Stand with the creation stone and feel the energy from all the stones surrounding you. You will be surrounded by these stones. The stones from throughout the world will be radiating their energy. And they will be radiating their energy in towards the creation stone like a star. And you will feel this energy because you are standing with the creation stone. Now, what you are going to do is open the door to the creation stone. And as you open the door to the creation stone, you are actually going to step inside it. This is when you may feel or experience being different species. And you're going to track inside, you're going to step inside and track the creation stone all the way, traveling deep, deep, deep until you land or find yourself at the ring of fire. Standing before you on the ring of fire will be your own fire pit. And you'll know that it's your fire pit because it is inscripted. You stand in front of this fire pit. You may notice that with this fire pit that it's barely lit. It may have almost gone out. This is a representation of our external and internal fire. Stand with your fire pit and now call in your ancestors. Call your tribe to stand in and around your fire. I call the ancestors to awaken the ring of fire, to reignite the fire, to reignite the ring of fire, to ignite the fire, our fire, so that the fires can join as one. Stand in your fire. Ignite your fire. Feel your fire. Now pass the baton. Pass your fire to those that are beside you. Pass your fire. Connect your fire with those beside you. Light the ring of fire, the whole ring of fire, like a runway, lighting up. Visualize the whole ring of fire lighting up. Now join hands. The dragons will be cheering because they know that they're getting their fire breath back. They know that balance is being restored. They know that they will be able to land once more. The matrix fires will go out. Holding hands, stand your ground. Feel the fires burning. Now look up to the sky. Look up and hold firm. Look up to the stars because the stars are now aligning. Connect with the northernmost star, the star of Elohim, the star of creation has been activated. The three-armed star is the key that has been missing. Allow it, visualize it to be spiraling in the sky. The three-armed star connects as a key into the Elohim star. Allow it to spin and quantum rotate, locking into place. Now receive your star. Receive your star into your fire. See and feel the star seeds landing. your very own star map. The star maps are activating throughout the world, and the motherships can now land. Stand strong in your fire. Stand strong in your fire and connect with the stones from throughout the world. An inscripted stone will come to you now. Connect with it. Walk through the door of your inscripted stone. Walk through the door and activate it. Find the key and turn the key a quantum rotation. And open your chest. Open the gate to your chest. Open the golden gateways. Now receive your star. Receive your star map into your chest. And activate it. Ground your star map. Ground it into your body. Embody it and root it deep, deep into the earth. The star maps must be earthed to create connection. The three-armed star has been suppressed in the earth. Allow the three-armed star to spiral not only in your chest, but also in the earth. If we allow the three-armed star to line up, the star to line up with our chest, with our body, and for the Earth's three-armed star to line up, and the ocean's three-armed star to line up, we are connected. There is a clear passage of energy between all. We are no longer separated from earth and sky. We are one. Connect earth and sky. As we connect earth and sky, the motherships can now land. Feel the motherships. Incas, Ayers Rock, Great Pyramid. You have been part of the inscription that needed to be activated in order for these key areas to be activated so that the motherships can land. Allow your star in your chest to shine, to open up and shine and guide these motherships home. Hold ground as the energy is strong. Allow the Myria to rise. Allow Mu to rise The clearing has been done. The work has been done for these to rise. The 3-armed star has now been activated and is spiraling so that they can land, so that they can rise. Key activation. Open the gates and open the doors. Hold ground and shine the light. Shine the light. And allow the opening of the gates and the grounding of these cities to occur.
Yeah.
Once these cities have landed, come back to your heart. Place your hand on your heart. May your eternal fire burn with strength and sovereignty. Take a moment to take ownership for all that you have ever been through all time and space and dimension. Now step back into your fire with your hand on your heart. Walk through the stone door and ignite the dragon heart. Ignite your heart. Ground your fire. Feel your fire activation and come back along the stone path home. Feel your feet. Feel the earth. Feel your body. Feel your skin. Coming back to the present. Back to the present. Your star map is waiting for you to be activated. And mapped within your body. There is diamond gateways within your body that have been suppressed. They have always been there. They are extra part of your chakra map. In opening those diamond gateways, you not only clear the issues that are stored in your body, but you can allow the inscription and the coding, your soul's coding and your stars to come home. Each star from your star map fits in to that diamond gateway. Why? Why do you want to do that? Because you connect to your original soul's purpose. You connect to your purity. There will be continental shifts. There will be countries merging. There will be shifting of stones. The original stones that were built to align with the stars will align.
Hmm.
I'm thanking you. I'm thanking you, dragon hearts, stone bearers, light keepers, starseed activators. The earth and the sky are now one. Their cities are now open. Those who have walked these cities will be our guides. Now allow the collaboration to begin. Whew.
Right.
Whew. Goodness.
That's pretty amazing. It was very cool to be a part of that.
Mm. There's like a bubbling in my heart that I've never experienced before. Yeah, it's like the collective is so excited.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's like a big ass boom.
Oh, wow.
It's a good way to end the day of broadcasting.
Mm.
I'm going to go lay down for a little bit.
So if we've got time, I'd really love to open it up to anyone who would like to speak or share. What's your thoughts, Todd?
Well, yeah, I mean, if they want the comments, I can't really pull anybody up. I don't have much left in me, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
could do something eventually where we pull people up, because a lot of people have been talking about dragons. I think the main thing is we got this activation going.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody, I don't know, I'll give it a 2-3 minutes and see what pops up here.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of hard to tell dragon story unless you're talking on the audio. But there was a comment up here. I just put a wow on it. Bianca Rose said, "I've been working on a dragon painting. I added a heartstone. My flame was in these colors that I'm painting, and the color of the heartstone came to me in this meditation."
Yeah. Something that I would really like to share, which really cemented things for me. It's dragons have definitely been right up there, and it's connected with us softening and coming into our midline of feminine and masculine and the innocent child. And part of that, it felt like my red dragon, so my masculine dragon was just holding time, was just sitting there in the background. And then one day it just rose, and the fire that came with that dragon, it was like, very masculine voice that came through and just went, get back into alignment, come back into softness. And what happened for me yesterday morning as part of coming into that softness is I was pulling off. I've had the visual of fully pulling off all the seaweed from the city of Lemuria, pulling off all the chains. And then the whales and dolphins were singing to me and they were guiding me, and I dived under the city of Lemuria and I found this gate, and I opened this gate, and inside the gate was a door and it was a cave, and I was like, oh, I don't know about going in there, but I went in there and I was very much guided to go in there. And at the bottom of this cave was this pure, innocent baby sitting inside a pearl, inside an oyster. And it was the most innocent child / mermaid I had ever seen. And I just cried. It's such pure innocence. And it felt like I had dived into the depths of my being and unchained something so deep and so loving and so innocent. And I really felt like those parts of myself that restrict myself from feeling joy and really feeling love were unchained in that moment. I felt such a gift in that. And I feel that as a result of that, the pearl is such a gift. It's like that pureness. It's about bringing everything into balance. And the way that I
like the way the dragons forcefully in a commanding way take you to your softness. Right. Because they ain't fooling around.
Yeah. No, they're not fooling around. They're commanding us, rise up and be in our authority.
Yeah.
Fully in our authority.
In our hearts. In our hearts.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, man. Whoa. All right. I either need a nap or some coffee or that was pretty I can always tell by the metrics. It was very powerful. Yeah, Jed suggested to let people watch this, and then we get together and do a deal where we have people share the dragon encounters and stories and such. Wow.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for initiating this, and thank you for sharing that and including everybody in on it. And thank you, everybody, for participating and being a part of it. You take care.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for reaching out. You take care.